You know, whenever you look at the list of the highest grossing films of all time, you are also, by extension, kind of, in a backdoor kind of way, looking at a list of the most expensive films ever made of all time. And of course, right up there near the top of that is the Avatar films. The Avatar movies do two things. One, they cost a lot of money to make. And number two, they take a long ass time to make. Like, we wait a long time for new Avatar movies. Well, after the results of Avatar Fire and Ash, which, by the way, easily cleared the $1 billion club, there was some questions about whether or not they would even move forward with 4 and 5. Now, James Cameron is saying, yep, he's still doing 4 and 5, but now he's saying, I'm going to make them twice as fast, and I'm going to make them for 2/3 the cost. This is what comes to us from the folks over at Coming Soon. James Cameron says Avatar 4 and 5 will cost less money and time to make. James Cameron says he wants future Avatar movies to be produced faster and more efficiently as work continues on Avatar 4 and Avatar 5. Speaking on the Empire Film podcast, the filmmaker explained that the scale and production demands of the franchise have become extremely costly and time-consuming, prompting his team to explore new methods for the next movies. You know, I'll be doing some writing. I've got a number of projects that I'm cooking, Cameron said during the interview. The filmmaker then confirmed that work on Avatar 4 and Avatar 5 remains ongoing, while the team evaluates ways to make future productions more manageable. And Avatar 4 and 5 are still floating out there. We're going to be looking at some new technologies to try to do them more efficiently, he said. He went on to say, the quote, we're going to make them twice as fast at 2/3 the cost, which is, of course, something that all the Disney executives love hearing. And look, I am like everybody else, that I completely agree. Make it right. If you got to take your time to make it right, make it right. But, movies costing $300 million and taking 4 years to make, you just can't do that today. That's just not something you can do. And you have to be a lot more careful with how you go about it. And the reality is, James Cameron, a good Canadian kid, by the way, has always been at the forefront of developing new technologies. Well, he should be for kind of pushing technologies that will help him actually make these things faster. Mm-hmm. And the faster you make something, the less expensive it's going to be, because you're paying 1,000 people every day you're making that movie a lot of money. So every day that you're not shooting something, you're saving $500,000, maybe more. So look, I completely do believe, I was starting to wonder, honestly, Rob, I was starting to wonder if whether or not we would even get an Avatar 4 and 5. But when you're talking about a guaranteed $1 billion film, it's hard to convince a studio not to make it. So I think what James Cameron here is saying makes sense. And as technology advances, Rob, they should be able to make it faster.
Yeah.
And making it faster automatically will make it less expensive. So I do like the fact that he's kind of, whereas some filmmakers, I'm looking at Guillermo del Toro, who I love and adore, but I remember like him talking about maybe making Hellboy 3. I still remember the interview. He said, well, yeah, but to make Hellboy 3, I want like a $200 million budget and I want all this stuff. And they're like, you can't have a $200 million budget to make a Hellboy movie. You crazy? It's good to see James Cameron saying cheaper, faster, but try to maintain all the quality. Anyway, Rob, you read his comments. Like, which of his comments are standing out to you, and what do you take away from this?
Well, first of all, I think they're all pretty good. I mean, he's being responsible. And one of the things we talked about, I know that Avatar, Fire and Ash, one of the problems they had, they delayed that movie a year. And a lot of that just came down to, we talked about this before, render time.
Yeah.
You know, when you're making these movies at higher frame rates and you're making them in 3D, and admittedly, it's the best 3D that's ever been done in the history of cinema, it just takes longer. And when it comes to render time, you can only go as fast as the technology will allow. So I would imagine as faster render times become more of a reality, it'll take less time, which is a good thing. And then also, you know, James Cameron is probably a perfectionist when it comes to these things, and he can probably take less time. And he can also conceive the films to have less, say, involved, call them set pieces, make it so maybe the productions themselves can be scaled back a little. So I think that's a great thing to do. And, you know, to be honest, even though people can talk about, well, you know, Avatar 3 only made $1.5 billion, I mean, clearly,
I love the word "only" is in there.
I know. The thing is, though, I think this Avatar franchise, I would really like to see where he's taking it. And if they do, he's talked about going to Earth, and if it does end with like the Awa of Earth having died out long ago and somehow you could bring a little Pandora back to Earth and re-energize our own ecology. I think that's a great message. I'd like to see that ending. I would like to see him finish his story. So I'm all for it, man. I think good for James Cameron for thinking this way. I'd like to see you know what, John? I would love to see James Cameron return and make a kick-ass action film, not like True Lies, but with that same kind of action, somewhere between True Lies and Terminator 2, and give us that James Cameron of old.
That would be a holiday for him.
He
would just be like, I don't have to render all these graphics. It's just humans talking.
I mean, give me an action comedy. Give me a buddy comedy.
He could do that in his sleep at that point.
I just want to see that. I miss that. Yeah. Hell, if he came out and said, I'm making True Lies 2, I'd be like, bravo. Bring back Jamie Lee Curtis and bring back...
True Lies is my all-time favorite action film?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You can bring back Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis today. They're grandparents now. Eliza Dushku is their granddaughter. So, I mean, they should have grandkids.
I will say beyond the scope of this franchise and beyond the scope of what Disney wants to make profit off of this, there's a larger question here, because what he's doing is he's gone to the forefront of this technology. And if he can show that you can make it for a third less and continually bring that down and for less time, other studios are going to look at that for the future of cinema and say, this is something now we can think about emulating for this movie. I mean, we've talked about, and we've said this movie deserves to be remade more than anything, is The Last Starfighter. While it did not do that well in the box office, if it weren't for the CGI advancements in The Last Starfighter, you wouldn't have Spielberg making Jurassic Park the way he did.
It was the first film to really do it.
Yeah.
The Last Starfighter was.
So this is a lab for the rest of the industry.
Well, by the way, that's been James Cameron's raison d'etre since like The Abyss.
Yeah.
The pseudopod sequence in The Abyss became...
Oh, God, it's been a while since I've seen The Abyss. I got to watch that again.
You got to watch it, dude. That movie's dope, especially the longer. I love the longer version of it. And you know what? Even the scenes without any special effects, that's all set on those submersible sets, harrowing. Some of the greatest action filmmaking ever done in that movie. And he, of course... like you said about Last Starfighter, but Last Starfighter led to like young Sherlock Holmes with the first character that jumped out of the stained glass window, and that led to The Abyss, which led to T-1000, which led to Jurassic Park. I mean, Cameron has been at the forefront of technology for almost 40 years.
Yeah. Him and George Lucas are very much kind of cut from the same cloth like that. But I just have to say, going back to True Lies, I often talk about how in Spaceballs, now Lone Star, you'll see evil always triumph because good is dumb, is the single funniest line ever in the history of film. Somewhere in the top 10 to me. Somewhere in the top 10 of the single funniest lines and the way it was delivered, all that kind of stuff. Who was the co-star? Who was...
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold. There's this scene in Act 1 of True Lies where Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger are in Schwarzenegger's house. And they're looking at a spy camera in the living room, and they see Arnold's daughter stealing money from his wallet. And Tom Arnold goes, you know what she's probably stealing the money for? An abortion. It's like saying that to his her dad.
And it's Arnold.
And there are very, very few moments ever in movie history, thank you, James Cameron, that made me laugh as pure hard as I did at that moment. Not a lot more better than that. Anyway, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Pocket Hose. Guys, I'm excited to tell you about the world's #1 expanding garden hose and their brand new product, the Pocket Hose Ballistic. As you guys can imagine, I'm not exactly gentle with my gear. I drag hoses across concrete over the pool, yank them around corners. I even coil and uncoil them all the time to put them in my camper van when I go out on my movie meetups. And generally speaking, a lot of them don't last. But the Pocket Hose Ballistic has been a totally different story for me. It's incredibly durable, super lightweight, and just makes the whole job easier. One One of my favorite things is how simple it is to use. You turn the water on, it expands. Turn it off, it shrinks right back down to pocket size. And it's reinforced with a liquid crystal polymer, the same kind of material used in bulletproof vests. Plus, it comes with the pocket pivot, which gives you 360-degree rotation at the spigot so it moves with you instead of fighting against you. And now, for a limited time, when you purchase a new pocket hose ballistic, you'll get a free 360-degree rotating pocket pivot and a free thumb drive nozzle. Just text Campea to 64,000. That's CAMPEA to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Text Campea to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about James Cameron saying, yeah, I'm going to do Avatars 4 and 5, but we're going to make them twice as fast and we're going to do them for 2/3 the price? I'm sure that's exactly what Disney wants to hear. And it seems like the natural evolution of things anyway. Anyway, whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called The John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.